I am Lisa Bourne. I am an attorney with Tabary Borne. I'm the vice chair of the St. Bernard Parish Chamber of Commerce, and I am on the Political Forums Committee. I'm here to talk about the political forums and the upcoming election.
So this coming October 7th, the St. Bernard Chamber is facilitating the 2020 political forums. What sorts of things should viewers and attendees be on the lookout for during the event?
So the event is pretty structured, and we do this every time there is an election, especially contested elections, mostly so people can get to know candidates. With local elections, it's a little bit harder to actually know who the candidates are. They don't have a lot of funding when it comes to commercials and things of that nature, but you will see signs of candidates, and you'll see the names, and the political forums is really a way to get to know the candidates and really put a face with a name and get to know some of their background.
That makes sense. So can you tell me a bit about how this is set up and who will be speaking, not candidates wise, but like the host and the MC, or I guess that's the same thing, but.
Yeah, so Mike Sherman, who is a political commentator, usually comes and facilitates. And the way that it's set up is for the judicial candidates, they get to have a 60-second introduction, say a little bit about themselves, and then there's a question format. And it's a little different from a debate, because the debate, they sort of talk at each other, and you see that on TV.
Right.
That's super fascinating and a little contentious, right? But with forums, it's more, we ask a specific question, and the questions are crafted very carefully by the Political Forums Committee to try and extract as much information as possible. And then each candidate is allowed to answer the question. There's 4 questions. They have 90 seconds to respond. And then at the end, just for the judicial candidates, they have 60 seconds to kind of give any information that they really didn't get to say to the crowd. And it is televised, I think, on the local channel that the parish uses, and then it's also, I think, either YouTube or Facebook. It'll be streamed.
Yeah.
And you're kind of doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out at the end. I know the parish government will be recording it, and I think they'll be streaming it also on their network, I believe. We'll be streaming it from the Facebook page. But then we'll get together and produce something for afterwards. It'll be a little nicer and a little better sounding. So aside from the moderators, what positions will candidates be running for this year?
So the positions we have, the election itself is pretty far and wide. I mean, I don't know if you've heard Donald Trump and Joe Biden are running against each other. So that's definitely going to be on the ballot November 3rd. But this is local political forums, and there's the Court of Appeal judges ran unopposed, so those are elected. You won't see any of them there. Judge Belsom, Judge Dysart are, they're serving another 10 years. And then when I say serving another 10 years, that sounds different than what it actually is. But that's their actual election term, is the 10 years. So. And that's unlike district court judges. District court judges are a term of 5 years, and they have to be up for re-election. So in St. Bernard Parish, there are 5 elected judges, and 3 of them are incumbents. They ran unopposed. And then so there's 2 seats in Division A and Division E that will have races. And so those candidates are expected to attend the political forums. In addition to that, we have Justice of the Peace races and constable races. There's also a public service commission that is up for election, in addition to the state Senate and the House of Representatives. So there's a lot on the ballot this year, and what the political forums really does is really showcases the local elections.
Right on. So for the judicial race, what are the requirements for a candidate?
So to be a district court judge, you have to, of course, have a law license. You have to have practiced for 8 years. You need to be a resident of St. Bernard Parish for at least a year. And You need to be in good standing with the Bar Association. So there's some requirements there in order to be a judge. And those political races are a little different than a regular race for, let's say, a House or a Senate seat. So it's a bit of a different type of a campaign.
Yeah. What would be the duties that would be expected from the candidate when they get elected?
So as far as a district court judge, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So district court judges in St. Bernard Parish, they preside over both criminal and civil matters, and they literally hold court every day between 8 and 4:30. So they have their regular duties that go on in a courtroom. It would be difficult to lay out every specific duty, but what they're really charged with is impartiality. So they want to sort of be in charge of their courtroom, make sure that everyone's treated fairly. Basically, that's all. I mean, they're running
entirely objective.
Right, and it's hard. It's hard to be objective. It's a small town, but the judges that are sitting and are elected, they do a great job.
So how many judge seats in all are there, aside from I know the two being run for?
So there's 5 total that sit at the district court level. And then, like I said, the Court of Appeal judges, we have one at-large seat, and then we have one specific to St. Bernard Parish. So if you're counting those, I guess you're counting 7, but 5 on the district court side.
Yeah. So we've been having several meetings regarding this, and I've been privy to some of the conversations about the difficulty in asking specific types of questions for our nominees. Why is that?
So a lot of times in judicial races, people want to ask real hot button issues. Right. For example, like, what do you think about defunding the police, or what's your, they cannot answer any of those questions. So that the one thing about impartiality is that they're bound by Canon 7. So they're not going to be able to say, this is the way that I would rule if this situation came before me. Mm-hmm. They are they're very restricted in how they can campaign by that canon. So it can be frustrating for people that don't understand, like, why wouldn't he, respond to, or she respond to something that is very relevant and a real, a political showstopper, so to speak. A lot of them will respond under Canon 7. I really can't answer that. I can tell you I would treat everyone fairly and treat everyone on a case-by-case basis, make that decision.
Yeah.
And that's really what in my opinion, consistency is always key for a judge. If they consistently rule one way under a certain set of facts, it helps attorneys to be able to say what's going to happen in the lay of the land, so to speak, underneath that judge. So that can be frustrating for people that don't see judges a lot, but
don't understand the system of precedent and all that.
Yeah, I mean, the system of precedent is a whole other conversation we can talk about. Fascinating. But Canon 7 really is very, very restrictive on how a candidate can campaign for judge.
Gotcha. All right, so let's switch gears to the Justice of the Peace. What is that?
So a justice of the peace is, and it kind of works in layers, right? So the Court of Appeals they review the district court judges, and district court judges can review a decision by a justice of the peace. So a justice of the peace is, for all intents and purposes, a small claims court, and they have jurisdictional limitations, which are $5,000 or under $5,000. So they do things like evictions and, like just smaller types of issues that are restricted to a justice of the peace jurisdiction. And there's a whole bunch of them too. So they're more locally centered, very user friendly, and really not, don't have to be a lawyer to be a justice of the peace. Yeah,
I was going to ask, so it sounds like they don't need to have the level of qualification that the justices have. What sorts of qualifications do they require?
Well, you need to be a resident in the ward where you're running, and you need to be a good person. Really, it really is the only requirement, is that you have to be of good moral character.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's pretty user-friendly, lots of form-based type stuff. I'm not saying that they don't handle difficult situations, they do, but it's not, they don't have the educational restrictions of district court judges.
Yeah. So there's 2 seats for district court judges. How many seats are open for the justice of the peace?
There's a lot. Let's see, 5, I think, have races where there's multiple candidates that are running. And then there are, I have notes here, there's 6 that have that are unopposed. So
Okay.
11 total.
And so is that
Did I get that
justice
right?
and constable, or is that
That's
justice?
just the justice of the peace.
Oh, okay. So it's not like the judges. It's there's more than one
Yeah.
per ward or per district.
Yeah, so it's more, without getting really technical, it's more like neighborhood based.
Okay.
So if that makes better sense.
Yeah.
So to say that it's user friendly, it's more like your neighbor Kenny down the road has a place where you can go and talk to him at his table and have your situation handled because it's a small claim. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to face the intimidation of going to court and getting a lawyer. It's more centered towards people handling their smaller issues without incurring the cost of litigation or the cost of actually filing in district court.
So does that carry the same or a similar weight of law that it would carry had they had gone to court?
It does. I mean, it absolutely does. I mean, a justice of the peace has the ability to make a ruling, and that ruling would be binding between the parties in the situation. Now, the district court can review it and decide whether it was legally correct or whether there was a factual basis to make that determination based upon the individual cases. But it certainly it has the same level of enforcement that at the district court level. Like I said, it's really just a jurisdictional limit of how much money they can really fight over, so to speak.
Yeah.
And evictions, I think, are more prevalent at the justice of the peace level.
Okay. So then what does the constable do?
So the constable really is sort of the almost like the bailiff of the justice of the peace. They're probably going to kill me for saying that, but they're but that's what they are. They really work hand in hand with the justice of the peace. They serve summons, and they're sort of like the officer for the justice of the peace. And but they're an elected official as well.
Okay. And how many of those seats are available?
So there's 11 constable positions. 7 of them are unopposed, and 4 are actually opposed. So you'll have 4 races there, and the justice of the peace they have 11 as well. There'll be 5 that have races and 6 that are unopposed.
Okay. So for all of these positions, including the judges, will all of the residents of the St. Bernard Parish be able to vote on all of these positions, or will it be a district by district situation?
Yeah, so the district court races, the judges' races will be parish-wide, and then the individual constables and justice of the peace will be specific to your district, so your specific neighborhood, your ward. And you can go onto the Louisiana Secretary of State's website to see what your ballot is going to look like, and it would be a parish-wide ballot that you can see, but it's a pretty lengthy ballot, so you can get a little familiar with it beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty user-friendly type of a thing, so you can see and if you're like me, I want to see the ballot before I get in there.
I'll include links in the description underneath the video.
And you should, and I just wanted to point this out, and I know that it's kind of just the funniest thing, but
Yeah.
you would appreciate it, maybe you would appreciate it. So when we were talking about the presidential races, and we said, these 2 guys that we've never heard of before, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, I was really surprised when I looked earlier today to find a candidate from the birthday party, and it's none other than Kanye West.
Wait, that's gone through.
That's real.
That's real.
That's
Okay, the birthday.
I didn't make it up,
goodness.
but Louisiana took it serious.
Right on. Okay, cool. Kanye West.
I mean, and you thought this was just going to be boring.
It'll be, yeah, no, this will be an interesting year for all things.
Yeah, and in the presidential race, there's a lot of different parties that it would just be interesting to go on to the Louisiana Secretary of State to read all of the fun names and to see the long, long list of presidential candidates other than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And I mean, just if you're curious about candidates and things like that, it would be a good exercise just to go in and see.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe Kanye West. I don't know.
What a joke.
Please no.
So
No offense, Kanye.
Yeah. Is there anything you would like to share with the St. Bernard Parish community or greater New Orleans community?
Sure. I'm going to do a shameless plug for Leadership St. Bernard. Because I am also the vice chair of the St. Bernard Chamber of Commerce, and Leadership St. Bernard is a great way to actually get people involved in the community. And if they're interested in politics, like we need really good candidates, you know, if Kanye West can do it, why not you? But to get the political landscape and to see what's going on in St. Bernard Parish, Leadership St. Bernard is a great way to really get involved and to meet the people that are really taking charge of the parish and to become one of those people. So I would encourage anybody that has political aspirations to join that and you know, get in there and get involved.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
You're welcome, Art, anytime.